Lauren rolled her eyes before she even looked at me. God, Mom, your birthday? Seriously? I have my own life to manage. I can't remember everything. If you wanted us here, you should have reminded me. I'm not psychic. The teacup fell from my trembling hand. 70 years reduced to an inconvenience. Something cracked inside me, deeper than porcelain, harder than bone. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. I am Caroline Bennett, 70 years old, retired literature professor, widow. My husband Richard died 3 years ago. Heart attack. Quick and clean. I live alone now in our Boston townhouse. 3 bedrooms. Too many memories. Lauren is my only daughter. Married to David, a lawyer. They have 2 children. Claire is 15. Ethan is 13. Beautiful grandchildren I barely know. For 20 years, I supported them all. Down payment on their house. Private school tuition. David's student loans. I never asked for gratitude. I thought love was enough. I was wrong. My 70th birthday arrived on a Tuesday in October. The leaves outside my kitchen window blazed orange and red. I woke early, made coffee. The house felt smaller that morning. I decided to bake Lauren's favorite cake. Lemon with cream cheese frosting. She loved it as a child. My hands remembered the recipe. 2 eggs. A cup of sugar. Lemon zest from 3 fresh lemons. The kitchen filled with citrus and warmth. I thought about Lauren at 8 years old. Flour in her hair. Giggles over mixing bowls. I set the table with my best china. The good silver. Cloth napkins pressed smooth. I waited. 9 o'clock became 10. 10 became 11. I called Lauren's cell phone. It went straight to voicemail. Her voice sounded rushed and distant. I didn't leave a message. Noon came. Then 1 o'clock. The cake sat untouched on its crystal stand. I made myself a sandwich. Turkey and Swiss on day-old bread. I ate standing at the counter. The afternoon stretched long and quiet. I watered my plants. Dusted the bookshelf. Refolded towels that were already neat. At 4, I called again. Still voicemail. 5 o'clock. 6. The sun began to set. I lit the 70 candles myself. They flickered in the growing darkness. I made a wish. Then I blew them out alone. The smoke curled up toward the ceiling. Gray wisps disappearing into nothing. I cut myself a slice of cake. It tasted like childhood and disappointment. 8 o'clock. 9. 10. I went to bed early. The cake remained on the counter. 70 candle stubs scattered like fallen soldiers. The next morning came gray and cold. November had arrived overnight. I checked my phone. No missed calls. No messages. I made coffee. Fed the birds outside my window. They came every morning without fail. At noon, my phone buzzed. A text message from Lauren. Happy belated birthday, Mom. You should have reminded me. I read it 3 times. Each time, the words cut deeper. You should have reminded me. As if my birthday was my responsibility alone. As if 70 years meant nothing without her permission to matter. I set the phone down. My hands were steady. My heart was ice. That afternoon, I threw away the cake. Slice by untouched slice into the garbage. The house felt different now. Not empty. Clean. I called my friend Margaret. We had known each other for 40 years. She answered on the first ring. Her voice warm and familiar. How was your birthday, Caroline? I told her everything. The cake. The waiting. The text message that came 24 hours too late. Margaret was quiet for a long moment. Then she sighed. Caroline, she said, Lauren has been telling people you're getting forgetful. That you've been slipping since Richard died. The words hit me like a slap. My own daughter, spreading lies about my mind. I am not slipping, I told Margaret. My voice was steady. Sure, I know that, she said. But others might not. After I hung up, I sat in Richard's chair. The leather still smelled like his cologne. I thought about Lauren as a baby. How I walked the floors with her. Fed her. Rocked her to sleep. I thought about the years of school plays. Piano recitals. Driving lessons. College tuition. Wedding expenses. Down payments and emergencies and every crisis that money could solve. 20 years of saying yes. Of opening my checkbook. Of believing that giving was the same as loving. I thought about David. How he smiled when he needed something. How his handshakes felt like transactions. I thought about Claire and Ethan. My grandchildren who called me Mrs. Bennett instead of Grandma. The house grew dark around me. I didn't turn on the lights. I made a decision that night. Clear and cold as winter air. The next morning, I called my financial advisor. Samuel Porter had managed my money for 15 years. Samuel, I said, I need you to stop all monthly transfers to Lauren's accounts. He was quiet for a moment. Are you sure about this, Caroline? I have never been more sure about anything in my life. He agreed. The transfers would stop immediately. I hung up the phone. For the first time in years, I felt something like power. 3 days later, Lauren called. Her voice was tight with worry. Mom, something's wrong with the bank transfers. We need that money. We need? I asked. Or you need? The line went quiet. I could hear her breathing. Sharp and quick. I ended the call without another word. My phone rang again immediately. I didn't answer. It rang 12 more times that day. I let every call go to voicemail. That evening, I listened to the messages. Lauren's voice grew more desperate with each one. The last message was different. Angry. Mom, if you don't call me back, I'm coming over there. Something is seriously wrong with you. I deleted every message. Then I unplugged the phone. The house was perfectly quiet. I made myself dinner. Salmon with rice. A glass of white wine. I ate slowly. Tasted every bite. Outside, the November wind rattled the windows. Inside, I was warm. For the first time since Richard died, I felt completely alive. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. 4 days passed in blessed silence. No phone calls. No frantic messages. I watered my plants. Read my books. Watched the morning news with my coffee. The mailman still came at 10:30. Mrs. Chen next door still walked her dog at 7. Life continued. The world kept turning without Lauren's drama. On Friday morning, the doorbell rang. I was making breakfast. Scrambled eggs and toast. I looked through the peephole. David stood on my porch holding flowers. His smile looked painted on. Too wide. Too bright. I opened the door slowly. Good morning, Caroline, he said. His voice was honey over broken glass. The roses were red, expensive, still had the florist sticker on the cellophane. He held them out like an offering. Like flowers could erase what I now knew. I took them without a word. Set them on the hall table. David followed me into the kitchen. His shoes clicked on the hardwood floor. He sat down uninvited, folded his hands like he was in church. Caroline, he said, we're worried about you. You haven't been answering your phone. I cracked another egg into the pan. The sizzle filled the silence. Lauren is beside herself, he continued. She thinks something might be wrong. Wrong. The word hung in the air like smoke. I flipped my eggs. Perfect circles of yellow and white. Nothing is wrong, David. I'm fine. But the money transfers stopped, he said. There might be some confusion. Confusion. As if my decision was a mistake. An accident. I turned to face him. My spatula dripped onto the floor. There is no confusion, I said. I stopped the transfers. His face changed. The mask slipped just a little. Why would you do that? His voice was tighter now. Less honey. More glass. I didn't answer. I plated my eggs. Added salt and pepper. David watched me eat. His jaw worked like he was chewing words. Caroline, he said finally, maybe we should talk to someone. A professional. A professional. Code words for what Lauren had been spreading. Senile. Slipping. Incompetent. I ate my breakfast slowly. Every bite deliberate. Every chew measured. David's phone buzzed. He read the message. Stood up quickly. I have to go, he said. But we'll talk more soon. The door closed behind him with a soft click. The roses remained on my table. I threw them away after he left. Expensive red petals in my kitchen trash. Saturday brought Lauren to my door. She knocked softly at first. Then harder. I let her wait. Counted to 20 before opening. Her face was a mask of concern. Eyebrows pulled together. Lips turned down. Mom, she said, pushing past me into the house. We need to talk. She wore her best jeans. Her lucky sweater. The one she saved for important occasions. We sat in my living room. She on Richard's chair. Me on the sofa. The space between us felt like an ocean. Mom, she began, David told me what happened yesterday. About the money. Her voice was soft. Patient. The tone she used with her children. I think you might be confused, she said. Those transfers have been automatic for years. Automatic. As if I had no choice. No say in my own money. I wasn't confused, Lauren. I made a conscious decision. Her patient mask cracked slightly. But why would you do that? Because I wanted to, I said. Simple words. Simple truth. Mom, she said, leaning forward. Her perfume was too strong. Roses and vanilla. You've been through so much since Dad died. Grief can affect judgment. Judgment. Another careful word. Another gentle accusation. My judgment is fine, I said. Lauren tried a different approach. Her voice grew warmer, more daughter-like. Remember when I was little? She said, how you used to make that lemon cake. I remembered. Every ingredient. Every step. Every birthday she forgot to celebrate. You always took care of us, she continued. Let me take care of you now. Take care. Such pretty words for taking control. I don't need taking care of, I said. Her patience was wearing thin. I could see it in her eyes. Mom, she said, be reasonable. We have expenses. The kids need things. The kids. My grandchildren who barely knew my name. What do they need? I asked. School supplies. Clothes. Activities. Normal things. Normal. As if using me was perfectly normal. They have 2 parents, I said. Parents with jobs. Lauren's mask fell away completely. Her voice sharpened. David's practice is struggling. You know that. The economy is terrible. The economy. Always someone else's fault. Never their choices. I stood up. The conversation was over. Lauren remained seated, staring at me like I was a stranger. Mom, she said quietly, I'm worried about you. Really worried. Her concern felt like a threat. Soft and dangerous. Don't be, I said. I'm fine. She left without another word. No hug. No goodbye. I watched her car pull away from my window. The afternoon sun caught her windshield. For a moment, it looked like fire. That evening, my phone rang. I recognized the number. Ethan. My 13-year-old grandson never called. Not once in 3 years. I answered on the fourth ring. "Hi, Grandma," he said. His voice was stiff, rehearsed. "How are you feeling today?" he asked. "Mom said you might be sad." Sad. Lauren's interpretation of my newfound clarity. "I'm not sad, Ethan. I'm actually quite well." "Oh," he said. There was a pause. Whispers in the background. "Do you want to come to dinner Sunday?" he asked. "Mom is making pot roast." Pot roast. My recipe. The one I taught Lauren years ago. "That's very kind," I said. "But I have other plans." More whispers. A woman's voice coaching him. "Are you sure?" he asked again. "We all miss you." All. Such a small word. Such a large lie. "I'm sure," I said gently. "But thank you for calling." I hung up before anyone could take the phone from him. Poor Ethan. Caught in his parents' web. Used as bait. The house settled into evening quiet. I made myself tea. Outside, the streetlights came on one by one. Orange pools on dark pavement. I thought about Lauren as a child. How she used to help me in the garden. Those days were gone. Had been gone for years. I just hadn't wanted to see it. Now I saw everything clearly. The performances. The manipulation. The careful words. I sipped my tea. Earl Grey with honey. The truth tasted better than I expected. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Sunday morning arrived cold and gray. I woke before dawn. The house felt different, lighter somehow, as if lies weighed more than truth. I made coffee, strong and black, sat at my kitchen table with the newspaper. The obituaries caught my attention. People my age, younger even. Harold Morrison, 72. Beloved father and grandfather. Margaret Sullivan, 68. Survived by 3 children and 7 grandchildren. Beloved. Survived by. Pretty words for the dead. I wondered what my obituary would say. If anyone would call me beloved. My phone rang at 8:30. Margaret's number. "Caroline," she said, "I heard Lauren was asking questions about you again." "What kind of questions?" "About your memory, your decision-making, whether you're handling things well." My coffee turned bitter in my mouth. "She called Patricia Henderson yesterday," Margaret continued. "Asked if she'd noticed anything different about you." Patricia Henderson. My neighbor for 15 years. A gossip with good intentions. "What did Patricia say?" "That you seem fine to her." Sharp as always. I felt something loosen in my chest. Relief. Validation. "But Caroline," Margaret said, "Lauren is building a case. You need to be careful." A case. Legal words. Lawyer-husband words. After I hung up, I sat very still. The kitchen clock ticked loudly. Lauren wasn't just asking for money anymore. She was questioning my competence. My ability to make decisions. My right to control my own life. I thought about David, his law degree, his connections. I thought about guardianship, court orders, being declared unfit. The coffee grew cold in my cup. At 10 o'clock, I made a decision. Clear and necessary. I called Samuel Porter, my financial advisor, my ally in this war. "Samuel," I said, "I need complete records of all transactions. Everything involving Lauren's family." He was quiet for a moment. "How far back?" 10 years should be enough." "I'll have them ready by Tuesday," he said. One more thing, Samuel. I need the name of a good investigator. An investigator? His voice was careful, concerned. Yes, I said. Someone discreet. Professional. He gave me a name. Julia Tran. Former police detective. Now private practice. I wrote it down on the back of an envelope. Blue ink on white paper. Tuesday morning, I drove to Samuel's office downtown. The November air was sharp. His secretary smiled at me. The same woman for 10 years. Ruth something. Mr. Porter is expecting you, she said. Samuel's office overlooked Boston Harbor. Gray water under gray sky. He handed me a thick folder. Bank statements. Transfer records. Cancelled checks. I opened it slowly. 20 years of generosity laid out in numbers. House down payment. $45,000. Private school tuition. $15,000 per year. Per child. David's student loans. $68,000. Car payments. Credit card bills. Emergency loans that were never repaid. The numbers blurred together. A river of money flowing one direction. How much total? I asked. Samuel consulted his calculator. Over $800,000, he said. 800,000. More than some people earned in a lifetime. And what have they contributed to your accounts? He asked gently. I didn't need to look at the records. Nothing. Not $1. The folder felt heavy in my hands. Heavy with truth. I drove across town to Julia Tran's office. A small building near Chinatown. The smell of ginger and soy sauce drifted from a nearby restaurant. Julia was younger than I expected. 45 maybe. Sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Her office was neat. Professional. A single plant on the windowsill. She listened without interrupting. Made notes on a yellow pad. What exactly do you want to know? She asked. Everything, I said. Their debts. Their assets. Their plans. She quoted me a fee. Reasonable for what I was asking. I wrote her a check on the spot. My signature steady and sure. It will take about 2 weeks, she said. That's fine, I said. I've waited this long. I drove home through late afternoon traffic. The city looked different somehow. Sharper. More real. At home, I made myself dinner. Chicken soup from a can. Saltine crackers. Simple food for a complicated day. That evening, Claire called. My 15-year-old granddaughter. Her voice was stiff. Formal. Like she was reading from a script. Hi, Grandma, she said. I wanted to check on you. Check on me. The same phrase Lauren had been using. I'm fine, Claire. How are you? Oh, I'm good. School is good. Everything is good. Good. A safe word. A nothing word. Mom said you might be feeling lonely, she said. Lonely. Lauren's interpretation of my newfound independence. I'm not lonely, dear. I'm actually quite content. There was whispering in the background. A woman's voice coaching her. Would you like to come for dinner this week? She asked. Mom misses you. Mom misses my money, I thought but didn't say. That's sweet of you to ask. But I have plans this week. Oh, she said. The disappointment sounded genuine. Maybe next week? She tried again. We'll see, I said gently. After I hung up, I sat in Richard's chair. The leather was cool against my skin. Poor Claire. Caught between her mother's lies and her grandmother's truth. I remembered when she was small. How she used to braid my hair. Now she called me because her mother told her to. The house settled into evening quiet. I listened to the familiar sounds. The furnace clicking on. The refrigerator humming. The clock ticking in the hallway. Sounds of a life lived alone. Sounds I had learned to love. Outside, Mrs. Chen walked her dog past my window. The same routine every night. Some things never changed. Some things could be counted on. I made myself tea. Chamomile this time. For peaceful sleep. In 2 weeks, Julia would have answers. In 2 weeks, I would know everything. For now, I had patience. I had clarity. I had time. Lauren could build her case. Spread her whispers. Plant her doubts. I would be ready. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. 2 weeks passed like winter mornings. Slow, cold, clear. I kept to my routines. Coffee at 7. News at 8. Garden at 10. Normal life while I waited for answers. Lauren called twice. I let both calls go to voicemail. Her messages grew sharper. More demanding. Less concerned daughter. More frustrated child. Mom, you need to call me back. This is important. Mom, I'm worried sick. Please pick up the phone. I deleted them without listening to the end. David drove by my house 3 times that I noticed. Maybe more when I wasn't watching. He never stopped. Just slowed down. Looked at my windows. Checking on me. Making sure I was still here. Still alone. Still vulnerable. Margaret visited on Wednesday. She brought cookies. Chocolate chip. Store-bought. We sat in my living room. Afternoon sun slanted through the windows. Caroline, she said, Patricia saw David parked outside your house yesterday. I wasn't surprised. Men like David always watched before they struck. What do you think he wants? She asked. Evidence, I said. Proof that I'm incompetent. Margaret's face tightened. What kind of proof? Dead plants. Spoiled food. Unpaid bills. Signs of neglect. But there weren't any signs. My house was spotless. My bills were current. I was sharper now than I'd been in years. Maybe that's what worried them most. Thursday morning, Julia Tran called. Her voice was crisp. Professional. Mrs. Bennett, she said, I have your report. Can you come in today? I'll be there at 2, I said. I spent the morning cleaning house. Not because it needed it. Because I needed the motion. Dust cloth in hand. Polish on wood. Order from chaos. At 1:30, I drove to Julia's office. The same parking spot was available. A good omen maybe. Or just Thursday afternoon luck. Julia's desk was covered with papers. Photos. Bank statements. Legal documents. She gestured to the chair across from her. The same chair as 2 weeks ago. Mrs. Bennett, she said. Your instincts were correct. She opened a folder. My life laid out in evidence. Your daughter and son-in-law are in serious financial trouble, she began. Credit card debt totaling $93,000. Second mortgage on the house. $45,000 outstanding. David's law practice is failing. 3 major clients left last year. The numbers felt like stones in my stomach. Lauren has been telling people you're developing dementia, Julia continued. She contacted your doctor's office. Asked about cognitive testing. My own doctor. Behind my back. Without my permission. David has been researching guardianship laws, she said. She slid a paper across the desk. Printouts from legal websites. How to declare someone mentally incompetent. Requirements for emergency guardianship. Procedures for taking control of assets. My hands shook as I read. Just slightly. But Julia noticed. There's more, she said gently. She opened another folder. This one thicker. They've been planning this for over a year, she said. Documents dating back to last Christmas. Email exchanges. Meeting notes. A coordinated campaign to take control of my life. David had even consulted with other lawyers. Asked about success rates. How to make the case airtight. Uncontestable. My daughter. My son-in-law. Planning to steal my freedom. Mrs. Bennett, Julia said, "Are you all right?" I was quiet for a long moment. Processing. Absorbing. "I'm fine," I said finally. Better than fine. The truth was brutal. But truth was always better than lies. "How much do you think they've taken from you?" she asked. I told her about Samuel's calculations. 800,000 over the years. She nodded grimly. "That matches what I found." "But Mrs. Bennett," she said, "they're not just after your past money. They want everything. Your house. Your savings. Your investments. Complete control. Complete access." She estimated my total assets. Everything Richard and I had built. $2.3 million. Enough to fund their lifestyle forever. Enough to make guardianship worth the effort. I sat back in my chair. The leather creaked softly. 2.3 million. More than I'd realized. No wonder they were so determined. So coordinated. So patient. "What would you like me to do with this information?" Julia asked. "I need copies of everything," I said. "All of it." She already had them ready. 2 thick manila envelopes. One for me. One for my lawyer. If I needed a lawyer. I paid her fee with a check. Added a generous bonus. Good work deserved good pay. The drive home felt different. Heavier somehow. I knew the truth now. All of it. Complete and terrible. At home, I sat at my kitchen table. Spread the papers out. Evidence of betrayal in black and white. Email from Lauren to David. "Mom seems more confused lately. Maybe it's time." David's notes from a legal consultation. Dementia diagnosis not required. Signs of impairment sufficient. Bank records showing their debts growing. My transfers keeping them afloat. A timeline of deception stretching back months. I made myself dinner. Grilled cheese and tomato soup. Comfort food for uncomfortable truths. The papers remained spread across the table. I ate around them. Facts had their own appetite. Required their own space. That evening, I called my old friend Robert. He'd retired from law 10 years ago. "Robert," I said, "I need advice. Legal advice." He listened without interrupting, asked a few questions, made suggestions. "Caroline," he said finally, "you need to protect yourself. And soon." "I know," I said. "Do you have a current will? Medical directives? Power of attorney documents?" "Yes," I said, "but they might need updating." He gave me a name. Maria Santos. Estate planning attorney. Aggressive when needed. "I'll call her tomorrow," I said. "Caroline," he warned, "once you start this fight, it changes everything." "Everything is already changed," I said. After I hung up, I gathered the papers. Put them back in their envelopes. Evidence secured. Battle plans forming. I made tea. Earl Grey again. With honey. The same tea I'd drunk 2 weeks ago. When this all began. But I was different now. Harder. Clearer. Ready. Lauren and David had made their choice. Tomorrow, I would make mine. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Friday morning brought unexpected snow. The first of winter. I watched it fall from my kitchen window. Soft white lies covering the truth underneath. Like Lauren's concern. Like David's flowers. Pretty surfaces hiding ugly intentions. At 9 o'clock, I called Maria Santos. The lawyer Robert had recommended. Her secretary scheduled me for Monday morning. An emergency appointment. Emergency. The word fit better than I liked. The weekend stretched ahead. 2 days to prepare for war. I spent Saturday organizing papers. Bank statements in chronological order. Julius evidence filed by category. Legal documents in a separate folder. Everything neat. Everything accessible. Everything ready. My dining room table became a battlefield. Papers arranged like battle plans. 20 years of financial records. 2 weeks of investigation. 1 lifetime of trust betrayed. Sunday brought Lauren to my door again. Earlier this time, more desperate, I watched her through the peephole. She looked smaller somehow. Thinner. Worry had carved lines around her eyes. Guilt maybe. Or just fear. I opened the door slowly. Let the cold air rush between us. Mom, she said, we need to talk. Really talk. She pushed past me into the hallway. Her boots left wet prints on my clean floor. We sat in the living room. The same positions as before. But the air felt different. Charged. Electric with unspoken truths. Mom, she began, I've been thinking about what you said. About the money. Her voice was careful, measured, like she was defusing a bomb. Maybe we can work something out, she continued. A compromise. Compromise. Such a reasonable word. Such a desperate offer. What kind of compromise? I asked. Well, she said, maybe we don't need as much as before. Monthly support. Just the mortgage. And the kids' school. The essentials. Essentials. Her word for luxuries I couldn't afford at their age. And in return? I asked. In return, we take care of you, she said. Make sure you're okay. Make sure. Code words for supervision. For control. I don't need taking care of, I said. Her patience slipped. Just a little. Just enough to show the truth underneath. Mom, she said, you're 70 years old. Living alone. Things happen. Things happen. Vague threats wrapped in concerned daughter packaging. What things? I asked. Falls. Confusion. Memory problems. Normal aging stuff. Normal. There was that word again. Making the abnormal seem inevitable. My memory is fine, Lauren. For now, she said. But Mom, we've noticed changes. Changes. More careful words. More gentle accusations. What changes? I pressed. You forgot to call me back last week, she said. That's not like you. I didn't forget. I chose not to call. See? She said, as if my honesty proved her point. You're being defensive. Defensive. Another weapon in her arsenal of concern. I'm being honest, I said. Lauren leaned forward. Her perfume was different today. Sharper. More desperate. Mom, she said, David thinks maybe you should see someone. A specialist. A specialist. The trap closing around me. What kind of specialist? A geriatrician. Someone who understands senior issues. Senior issues. Medical words for inconvenient independence. I see my doctor regularly, I said. He says I'm fine. But Mom, she pressed, general practitioners don't always catch things. Things. Always things. Never specific accusations. Never direct attacks. Just vague concerns that could mean anything. Could justify everything. I think this conversation is over, I said. Lauren's mask slipped completely. Her voice turned sharp. Mom, she said, you're not thinking clearly. We're trying to help you. Help. The most dangerous word of all. I stood up. The conversation was finished. Lauren remained seated, staring at me like I was already lost. Fine, she said finally. But this isn't over. She left without another word. The door clicked shut behind her. I locked it. Both locks. The deadbolt too. The house felt safer immediately. That afternoon, I drove to my doctor's office. Dr. Martinez had been my physician for 15 years. I needed ammunition for the battle ahead. His nurse squeezed me in between appointments. A favor for a longtime patient. Dr. Martinez looked concerned when I explained the situation. "Caroline," he said, "your last physical was excellent. Your mind is sharp." "I need that in writing," I said. He understood immediately. Wrote a letter on official letterhead. "Mrs. Caroline Bennett shows no signs of cognitive impairment or dementia. She is mentally competent and capable of making her own decisions." Simple words. Powerful protection. That evening, I called Margaret. Told her about Lauren's visit. "Caroline," she said, "they're getting desperate. That makes them dangerous." "I know," I said. "What will you do?" What I should have done years ago. Monday morning arrived gray and cold. The snow had turned to slush. I dressed carefully. My best navy suit. Pearl earrings. Professional armor. Maria Santos' office was downtown. Glass and steel reaching toward winter sky. Her secretary offered coffee. I accepted. Black. Strong. Caffeinated courage. Maria was younger than I expected. 40 maybe. Sharp suit. Sharper eyes. Her office smelled like leather and ambition. Success had a particular scent. She listened to my story without interrupting. Made notes on yellow paper. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair. "Mrs. Bennett," she said. "They're building a guardianship case against you." "I know," I said. "The good news is they haven't filed yet. We have time to prepare." "What kind of preparation?" "Legal documents, medical evaluations, financial restructuring, a complete defense against their attack." She outlined a strategy. Comprehensive, aggressive, expensive, but cheaper than losing everything. "How long will this take?" I asked. 2 weeks to get everything in place. Maybe 3. And then? Then we wait for them to make their move. And we crush it. Crush. Such a satisfying word. I signed retainer agreements. Authorized her to begin immediately. The war had officially started. The drive home felt different. Purposeful. Directed. I was no longer just defending. I was attacking. At home, I made lunch. Soup and sandwich. Fuel for the fight ahead. The dining room table still held my papers. Evidence of their betrayal. Soon it would hold evidence of their defeat. I ate slowly, thoughtfully, planning my next moves. Lauren and David thought I was weak. Confused. Easy prey. They were about to learn otherwise. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. 2 weeks passed like a chess game. Move. Countermove. Strategy. Maria worked quickly. Legal documents filed. Medical evaluations scheduled. Financial accounts restructured. My assets were now protected. Locked away from grasping hands. Trust funds. Irrevocable arrangements. Legal fortresses built around my money. Lauren called every few days. Her voice grew more strained each time. "Mom, we really need to talk. It's been too long. Mom, the kids miss you. They ask about Grandma every day. Mom, I'm worried about you living alone." We all are. The same script. Different variations. Same desperate tune. I let every call go to voicemail. Deleted each message without listening completely. On Thursday, something changed. The calls stopped. The silence felt dangerous, like the quiet before storms. Friday morning brought a different sound. My doorbell. Not a call. I looked through the peephole. Lauren stood on my porch holding flowers. Behind her, David waited by their car. Arms crossed. Face grim. Behind them both, Claire and Ethan sat in the back seat. Watching. A family delegation. All hands on deck for the final push. I opened the door slowly. Lauren's smile was bright. Too bright. "Mom," she said, "we brought you flowers. Your favorite. White roses. They weren't my favorite. Had never been my favorite. But truth didn't matter now." "How lovely," I said. "Thank you." She pushed past me into the hallway. Her perfume was overwhelming today. Desperation had a scent. Sweet and cloying and false. "Mom," she said, "we've been thinking. About what you said. About the money. We've decided you're right," she continued. "We need to be more independent." Independent. The word sounded foreign in her mouth. "That's good to hear," I said. "But first," she said, "we want to make sure you're okay." Really okay. Here it came. The real reason for the visit. "So we've made you an appointment," she said. "With a wonderful doctor. A specialist. Someone who can give you a complete evaluation." Complete evaluation. Medical words for comprehensive invasion. "What kind of specialist?" I asked. "A neurologist," she said. "Very well respected. Very thorough. Dr. Harrison. He comes highly recommended." "By whom?" I wondered but didn't ask. "The appointment is Monday," she continued. "We'll drive you. Make sure you get there safely." Make sure. Those words again. Control disguised as care. "That's very thoughtful," I said. "But I can drive myself." "Mom," she said, "we insist. Family should stick together." Family. Such a warm word. Such a cold weapon. "I'll think about it," I said. Lauren's smile tightened. "We've already confirmed the appointment," she said. "It would be rude to cancel now." Rude. Social pressure. The genteel woman's trap. "Of course," I said. "Monday it is." Her relief was visible. Shoulders relaxing. Smile becoming real. "Wonderful," she said. "We'll pick you up at 9:30. She kissed my cheek. Her lips felt cold against my skin. After they left, I stood in my hallway. The white roses wilted in my hands. I threw them away immediately. Expensive lies in my kitchen trash. Then I called Maria Santos. "They've made their move," I told her. "Medical evaluation Monday." She was quiet for a moment. "Processing. Planning." "Don't worry," she said. "We're ready for this." "What should I do?" "Go to the appointment. Be yourself. Answer honestly." "And Mrs. Bennett?" she added. "Remember that you're not on trial." That evening, I called Dr. Martinez. My real doctor. My ally. He listened to my concerns. Made reassuring sounds. "Caroline," he said, "you're one of the sharpest patients I have. Any competent neurologist will see that immediately. But what if he's not competent? What if he's been bought?" Dr. Martinez was quiet. Then he sighed. "I'll make some calls," he said. "See what I can find out." Saturday morning brought his call. Early. Urgent. "Caroline," he said, "Dr. Harrison is legitimate. Respected. Ethical." Relief flooded through me. At least the game would be fair. "But Caroline," he continued, "your daughter contacted his office. She provided background information. About your recent behavior." "What kind of information?" "Memory lapses. Confusion. Poor judgment. Paranoid thoughts about family. Paranoid thoughts." My clarity reframed as mental illness. "She's poisoning the well," he said. "Setting up a narrative." "I know," I said. "But I'm ready." Sunday was quiet. Too quiet. The calm before everything changed. I spent the day preparing. Not for tests or evaluations. For battle. I chose my clothes carefully. Navy dress. Pearl necklace. Conservative but strong. I organized my papers. Medical records. Legal documents. Character references. Evidence of competence. Proof of clarity. Ammunition for war. That evening, I sat in Richard's chair. Leather worn smooth by years. I thought about our life together. 43 years of marriage. We'd built something good, something solid, something worth protecting. Richard would have understood what I was doing. Why I was fighting. He'd always said I was stronger than I looked. Tougher than I seemed. Tomorrow, I would prove him right. The phone rang at 8 o'clock. Margaret's number. Caroline, she said, I heard about tomorrow. From Patricia Henderson. News traveled fast in our neighborhood. Especially bad news. How are you feeling? She asked. Ready, I said. Good, she said. Show them what you're made of. What I was made of. 70 years of experience. Love turned to steel. I went to bed early. Set 2 alarms. Laid out my clothes. Tomorrow would decide everything. My freedom. My future. My life. Lauren thought she was taking me to a doctor. She was actually taking me to court. And I intended to win. The house settled into night quiet. Familiar sounds in familiar darkness. But nothing would be familiar after tomorrow. Win or lose, everything would change. I fell asleep thinking about justice. Cold and clean and necessary. Morning would bring answers. Final answers. I was ready. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Monday morning arrived sharp and cold. December in Boston. Unforgiving. I woke at 5:30. Earlier than my alarm. My body knew. Today was the day everything changed. I made coffee. Strong and black. Drank it standing at the kitchen window. The street was empty. Gray dawn light on bare trees. Soon Lauren's car would appear. Soon the performance would begin. I dressed carefully. Navy dress. Pearl necklace. My armor of respectability. In my purse, I placed Maria's business card. Dr. Martinez's letter. My shield of truth. At 9:15, I heard the car. Right on time. Lauren knocked softly. David waited by the driver's door. Claire and Ethan sat in the backseat again. Witnesses to whatever came next. I opened the door. Lauren's smile was brittle as winter glass. Ready, Mom? She asked. I've been ready for weeks, I said. The car ride was quiet. Tense. Like driving to a funeral. Lauren made small talk. The weather. Traffic. Anything but the truth. David's eyes met mine in the rearview mirror. Cold. Calculating. Certain of victory. The medical building was new. Glass and steel reaching toward gray sky. Dr. Harrison's office was on the 7th floor. Neurology associates. The waiting room smelled like antiseptic and fear. Leather chairs arranged in careful rows. Other families waited too. Similar situations. Similar desperation. The elderly with their worried children. The confused with their concerned relatives. I was different. I knew exactly what was happening. A nurse called my name. Mary something. Kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. She led me down a hallway. Fluorescent lights humming overhead. Lauren started to follow. I turned to face her. I'd prefer to go alone, I said. But Mom, she protested, we should be there. For support. Support. Such a gentle word for supervision. I'll be fine, I said. Lauren's face tightened. This wasn't the plan. I was supposed to be helpless. The nurse intervened gently. Family usually waits here, she said. Lauren had no choice but to sit. Watch me walk away. In control for the first time in months. Dr. Harrison was younger than expected. 45 maybe. Calm demeanor. Professional distance. His office was neat. Diplomas on the wall. Medical journals stacked precisely. He gestured to a chair across from his desk. I sat without hesitation. "Mrs. Bennett," he said. "Your daughter contacted me about some concerns." "I know," I said. "She thinks I'm losing my mind." He looked surprised. Most patients didn't start so directly. "Are you?" he asked. "Am I what? Losing your mind?" I smiled. The first genuine smile I'd felt in weeks. "Doctor," I said, "I've never been more clear-headed in my life." He made a note, then looked up. "Tell me what's been happening," he said. "In your own words." So I did. Everything. The forgotten birthday. The stopped payments. The investigation. The evidence of fraud. The guardianship plans. The coordinated manipulation. He listened without interrupting, made occasional notes, asked clarifying questions. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair. "That's quite a story," he said. "It's not a story," I said. "It's the truth." I reached into my purse, pulled out my documentation, medical clearance from Dr. Martinez, character references, bank statements, evidence of competence, proof of sanity, 20 years of exploitation laid bare. Dr. Harrison examined each document carefully, thoroughly. His expression grew more serious with each page. "Mrs. Bennett," he said finally, "these are very serious allegations." "They're not allegations," I said. "They're facts." He spent the next 2 hours testing me. Memory, reasoning, problem-solving, mental math, current events, abstract thinking. I answered every question, solved every problem, remembered every detail. When he finished, he sat quietly for a long moment. "Mrs. Bennett," he said, "there is absolutely nothing wrong with your mind." "I know," I said. "Your cognitive function is excellent. Better than most people your age." "I know that too." He hesitated, then spoke carefully. "Your daughter provided some background information," he said, "about confusion, memory problems." I waited. Let him continue. "Based on my evaluation," he said, "those concerns appear to be unfounded." Unfounded. Medical language for lies. "What will you tell her?" I asked. "The truth," he said. "That you're mentally competent, fully capable, and if she asks for a second opinion, she's entitled to request one," he said. "But the results will be the same." We walked back to the waiting room together. Lauren jumped up immediately. Her face was eager, expectant, ready for vindication. Dr. Harrison's expression was professional, neutral, revealing nothing. "Mrs. Bennett is in excellent health," he told Lauren. "Mentally and cognitively." Lauren's face fell. This wasn't the news she'd expected. "But doctor," she said, "we've noticed changes. Confusion. Poor judgment." Dr. Harrison's voice was firm. "I see no evidence of that." "But what about her recent behavior?" Lauren pressed. "The financial decisions? Those appear to be rational responses to her circumstances," he said. Rational. The word hit Lauren like a slap. David stepped forward, his lawyer instincts kicking in. "Doctor," he said, "perhaps additional testing would be helpful." Dr. Harrison turned to face him, his expression cooling. "Mr. Wilson," he said, "I see no medical justification for additional testing. Your mother-in-law is competent, alert, making her own decisions." The ride home was silent. Funeral quiet. Lauren stared out the window. David gripped the steering wheel. Their plan had failed. Their expert had turned against them. At my house, they didn't get out. Didn't walk me to the door. Just sat in the car. Engine running. Defeated. I walked to my front door alone. Unlocked it. Stepped inside. The house felt different. Lighter. Free. I made myself lunch. Celebrated with a glass of wine. That afternoon, Maria called. Her voice was triumphant. "Mrs. Bennett," she said, "Dr. Harrison already called me. Excellent news. Now we file our own papers," she continued. "Fraud charges. Elder abuse. A complete offensive strategy. How long will it take?" I asked. "We'll have everything ready by Friday," she said. "This Friday?" "This Friday," she confirmed. No more delays. That evening, I called Margaret. Shared the good news. "Caroline," she said, "I'm so proud of you. You fought back." "I did what I had to do," I said. "Richard would be proud too," she said. I thought so. I hoped so. The house settled into evening quiet. But it wasn't lonely anymore. It was peaceful, secure, protected. Tomorrow I would begin rebuilding. Redrawing boundaries. Reclaiming my life. Lauren and David had played their final card. Now it was my turn to deal. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. 3 days passed in deliberate quiet. I didn't call anyone. No one called me. The silence felt earned, deserved, like rest after battle. Thursday afternoon, I sat at my kitchen table. Made a list. Things to do. People to call. Decisions to make. First, I called Maria Santos. Her voice was crisp. "Ready. Everything is prepared," she said. "Papers filed. Charges documented. What happens now?" I asked. "Now we invite them to dinner," she said. Dinner. Such a civilized word for what was coming. Friday morning, I called Lauren. Her phone went straight to voicemail. I left a simple message. No explanation. No pleading. "Lauren, this is your mother. I'm having dinner Sunday at 6. I expect you all to come. David, Claire, Ethan, everyone. We have things to discuss." I hung up. My voice had been steady. "Sure." An hour later, she called back. Her voice was cautious. "Mom," she said, "that sounds lovely. What can we bring?" "Just yourselves," I said. "That's all I need." She tried to make small talk. I cut her short. "Sunday at 6, I repeated. "Don't be late." Saturday, I cleaned house. Not because it needed it. Because I needed the ritual. Dust cloth over every surface. Vacuum over every carpet. Order restored. Control reclaimed. I polished the good silver. Set out the crystal glasses. This would be a proper dinner. A formal occasion. Some conversations deserved ceremony. Sunday arrived gray and cold. The shortest day of winter. Fitting somehow. Endings required darkness. I cooked all day. Pot roast. Mashed potatoes. Green beans. Lauren's favorite meal from childhood. One last gesture of motherhood. The house filled with familiar smells. Comfort and nostalgia mixed together. I set the dining room table carefully. My best china. Cloth napkins. Candlesticks Richard had given me for our anniversary. Silver gleaming in afternoon light. At 5:30, I changed clothes. Black dress. Pearl necklace. Funeral elegant. Appropriate for what was dying tonight. They arrived at 6 exactly. Lauren, David, Claire, Ethan. A complete family delegation. Everyone present for the finale. Lauren carried flowers again. Red roses this time. Store-bought and scentless. "How beautiful everything looks," she said. "Like a special occasion." "It is," I said. We gathered in the dining room. Took our usual places. Lauren and David across from me. The children at the ends. I served dinner without conversation. Pot roast and small talk didn't mix. Everyone ate carefully, politely, waiting for something to break the tension. Claire complimented the potatoes. Ethan asked for seconds on green beans. Good children, caught in their parents' web of greed. David cleared his throat. This is delicious, Caroline. Thank you. You're welcome, I said. The words carried weight neither of us acknowledged. After dessert, I stood up. Walked to the sideboard. Returned with a manila folder. Set it on the table. The silence stretched like a held breath. I've learned some interesting things lately, I said. Lauren's fork clattered against her plate. What kind of things? I opened the folder. Spread papers across the linen tablecloth. Bank statements. Legal documents. Email printouts. Evidence. 20 years of financial support. $800,000. Your debts. $93,000 on credit cards. Your plans. Guardianship. Conservatorship. Control. Lauren's face went pale. David's jaw tightened. Mom, Lauren said, we can explain. Can you? I asked. Can you explain this email? I read her words back to her. Mom seems more confused lately. Maybe it's time. Or this legal consultation? I continued. How to declare someone mentally incompetent. David leaned forward. Caroline, you're taking things out of context. Context, I said. Let me give you some context. I pulled out Dr. Harrison's report. Read the key phrases aloud. Excellent cognitive function. No signs of impairment. Fully competent. Your expert, I reminded them. Your chosen doctor. The silence was complete now. Even the children were listening. I continued methodically, calmly, like reading a grocery list. Here are my new bank statements. Assets transferred to irrevocable trusts. Here is my new will. Everything to charity, nothing to family. Here are fraud charges filed with the district attorney's office. Lauren gasped. David cursed softly. And here, I said, are eviction notices for the house. The house you've been living in. The house I still own. You have 30 days to find somewhere else to live. David stood up abruptly. His chair scraped against hardwood. Caroline, he said, you can't be serious. I've never been more serious about anything in my life. Lauren was crying now. Quiet tears down pale cheeks. Mom, she whispered, we're your family. Family, I repeated. Such a precious word. Such a corrupted meaning. Family doesn't steal. Family doesn't lie. Family doesn't conspire. You stopped being my family when you started planning my destruction. Claire looked confused. Ethan stared at his plate. Poor children. They didn't understand yet. Someday they would. David tried one last argument. His lawyer voice. Reasonable. Persuasive. Caroline, he said, think about what you're doing. This affects everyone. I have thought, I said. For weeks. Very carefully. You wanted to take everything from me. My money. My freedom. My life. Instead, you've lost everything yourselves. I stood up. Walked to the window. Looked out at the winter darkness. The house is yours until January 15th, I said. Then you leave. The bank accounts are closed. The credit cards cancelled. The support ended. You'll need to find jobs. Real jobs. Support yourselves. Like adults do. Lauren tried once more. Mom, please. We can work this out. No, I said. We can't. I turned to face them all. My voice was steady. Final. You made your choice when you decided I was incompetent. Now live with the consequences. They left without another word. No goodbyes. No apologies. The front door closed with a soft click. I was alone. Finally. Completely. Gloriously alone. I cleared the dishes slowly. Washed them by hand. The familiar ritual of ending. Of closure. Outside, snow began to fall. The first storm of winter. Inside, I was warm. Safe. Free. I made myself tea. Earl Grey with honey. Sat in Richard's chair. Felt the leather conform to my body. 43 years of marriage. 20 years of exploitation. 1 month of justice. The math finally balanced. Tomorrow I would begin again. New routines. New purposes. New life. But tonight, I simply sat. Listened to the snow against windows. Felt the peace that comes after war. I had won. Not just the battle. The entire war. Love could not be bought. Respect was not optional. And I was nobody's victim anymore. The tea grew cold in my cup. I didn't mind. Some moments were too precious to rush.